So I think many people will know that Nottingham had a lace industry, but I think not many people will know just how important that industry was globally. So for instance, in Germany, one of their big lace centres was Plauen, and that was often referred to as the Nottingham of Germany, or German Nottingham. This is how important Nottingham was globally at this time. It was a recognised centre in terms of the quality of the lace produced, but also in terms of innovation, and it really provided a centre for the global lace trade. Lace was coming into Nottingham, it was being made here, and it was being distributed. By the middle of the 19th century and into the 20th century, most of the big factories and manufacturers are outside of Nottingham city itself, in places like Lenton. You then have in the city centre merchants, agents, the middlemen essentially of the trade, who are buying lace goods and hosiery from manufacturers and then distributing it across the globe. The lace market itself was heavily dominated by the merchants and the agents. There were several very large buildings, like the Thomas Adams building for instance, which were essentially offices, warehouses, through which the middlemen went about their work and business. There were also a number of foreign firms that were based within the lace market, the majority German, but also some French and South American as well. And a lot of the German merchants that were working in Nottingham lived within the Park estate. That area was heavily dominated by people who became very wealthy merchants through their involvement in the lace trade. So there you had a mixture of local Nottingham people, Germans, and at times a few Americans as well. The high demand for lace in America essentially led the American government to really push for the development of a domestic lace industry in the United States. So the area around New York State, Long Island, Rhode Island, Philadelphia became a centre for the lace industry. A lot of the machines that were used in those factories actually came from Nottingham, from the big machine builders like Wallace and Longdon, John Jardine, and in fact until recently one of those factories was still functioning, still working until the 2010s with Wallace and Longdon machines. If we think about essentially the demise of the Nottingham lace industry, particularly from the 1930s onwards, and certainly into the second half of the 20th century, there was a strong argument at the time that this was the result of the exportation of machinery. So essentially this idea that the machines that were produced here in Nottingham, of course, brought wealth to Nottingham, but it also took wealth away. Those lace industries that developed in America, that continued to develop in Germany and Calais, then became very strong competition for Nottingham lace. And unfortunately, Nottingham wasn't able to remain as competitive as the 20th century went on. This can be a somewhat simplistic narrative, as there are other factors involved, but this idea that success does often come with a negative side and can eventually lead to the demise of local industry is a very strong one within this story.